Trevor Ariza finally gets his wish and gets dealt out of Phoenix. What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA. Here to talk about the latest trade that went down in the National Basketball Association between the Wizards and the Phoenix Suns, in which Trevor Ariza is now a member of the Washington Wizards, and the Suns are going to get pieces that I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to break down the trade, break down who won, who lost, and kind of the reasoning that each team had in making the trade. So with that being said, if you are new to the channel, make sure to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on my social media accounts, my Twitter, Instagram, links down below for all of that good stuff. So with that being said, I won't delay any longer. Let's get started. So I'll start by saying this, that it was real funny how this trade went down. I mean, just how the entire trade came through. And if you're not on Twitter, what are you doing, by the way? Like I said, follow me on Twitter, but NBA Twitter is a great place to be. And when Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN now was tweeting about this trade, it was initially a 3-team trade. Okay, again, I'm talking about before this new trade fell through with the Wizards and the Suns. The Grizzlies were also part of this trade, okay? And the Grizzlies were going to give up a Brooks. And I say A. Brooks because there was confusion on which Brooks it was. The Grizzlies have Marshawn Brooks and they have Dillon Brooks, okay? So they thought they were trading Marshawn Brooks. The Suns thought they were getting Dillon Brooks. And I don't know how this gets past an NBA general manager, but they managed to screw that up and the deal was dead because the Grizzlies said, no, we're not trading Dillon Brooks. And that's who the Suns thought they were getting. The Suns, man, they are such an incompetent franchise. It is no wonder they have been so bad for so long. It feels like they've been rebuilding for years. Not just feels like, they have been rebuilding for years. And mind you, they have lucked into some talent. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, etc. And they are still not able to do anything. That front office and that management needs to absolutely be reevaluated because I don't think they know what the heck they're doing. So with that being said, again, I could get into a whole another rant about the Suns and their front office mess, but I won't do that. I'll just talk about this trade. So after that trade died with the Grizzlies, it became a 2-team trade with the Wizards and the Suns. And the Suns have been trying to trade Trevor Ariza because everybody knows the Suns are going nowhere fast and in a hurry. And they are going to lose a ton of games this year. And it incentivizes because they want to obviously have a high lottery draft pick. Now, this year the lottery changes and the worst team in the NBA doesn't automatically get the best odds. But hey, still, you get a guaranteed top 5 pick if you are the worst team in the league. So the Suns want to lose, and they want to lose a lot. Okay, so Trevor Ariza, who they signed this year to a 1-year, $15 million deal, he's very attractive to teams that feel like they can make the playoffs or contend because he is a veteran who knows how to play. 2, he's a 3-and-D guy, which is very valuable in today's league. And 3, he's on a 1-year contract, so that means you don't have to commit to him long-term, okay? So, there were a lot of suitors for Trevor Ariza. The Lakers were mentioned. Obviously, the Grizzlies being in this trade. But the Wizards, the Sixers, a bunch of different teams were interested in Trevor Ariza. I'm hearing initially that the Lakers wanted to trade for Trevor Ariza, but they didn't want to give it the core pieces. But really, then there's reports out there that the Phoenix Suns owner, Robert Sarver, really didn't even want to trade with the Lakers and he refused to talk to them. I don't know how true that is, but again, that's what I read, okay? So with that being said, talking about this trade, the Suns obviously trade away Ariza, and they get back Kelly Oubre and Austin Rivers. Fives, what the heck are the Wizards thinking is probably what you're thinking right now, right? Like, you give up Kelly Oubre and Austin Rivers, 2 young and relatively good players, for an aging, expiring Trevor Ariza. Now, remember, the expiring part is actually a good thing because I told you teams want players that are not on long-term deals because they don't want to, commit to a lot of salary. But why on earth would the Wizards do this trade? And initially, I thought the same thing. I said, what the heck are the Wizards doing? They had Trevor Ariza on this team a few years ago, and they let him go. So you want Trevor Ariza back, and you're willing to part with Kelly Oubre, who's, one of your core young players and Austin Rivers, that's a little too much, right? But here's the thing. And I believe this trade from the Wizards' perspective was made for this reason and this reason only. They do not want to pay Kelly Oubre. And that is something I can't totally argue against, okay? Because for me, Kelly Oubre is a good player. He's a nice young player who's got some promise in this league. But do I think Kelly Oubre has any sort of star potential? Absolutely not. Do I think Kelly Oubre's got any sort of, franchise changing? He can be your second, third best player. I don't think so. I think he's just going to be a Trevor Ariza in this league. Really, he's a younger Trevor Ariza, but he's going to become more expensive because he's coming out of his rookie deal. And so the Wizards would have to pay him. And that is why they traded him. So I believe he's got one more year after this year, and then he becomes a restricted free agent. But the Wizards don't even want to deal with that, okay? John Wall's new max salary contract kicks in after this year, and he's getting paid like $40+ million a year. Bradley Beal's on a max contract. They just paid Otto Porter. They don't want to pay Kelly Oubre, and they're not going to, okay? So that's the reason why they traded away Kelly Oubre. So on the surface, it looks horrible. And basketball-wise, it could be for their long term, but they didn't want to pay for Kelly Oubre. And I don't think I want to give Kelly Oubre a max contract, so I can't really argue against that. Now, one thing I can say is I believe they should have asked for Trevor Ariza and somebody else, maybe a couple picks, maybe another player, something. Because I feel like just Ariza wasn't enough for me. So in that instance, I don't like that part for the Wizards, but the not paying Kelly Oubre part, I can't argue against. Austin Rivers, just to throw in, he's a okay player in this league, but we all know he's a bench player, so I don't think that we need to talk about Austin Rivers too much now. Obviously, on the Suns side, this trade gives them another wing, and they have a lot of wing players, Josh Jackson, Mikal Bridges, however you pronounce his name. Obviously, Devin Booker, their franchise player. Now you add Kelly Oubre to the mix. So they are obviously loaded on the wing side. And here's the thing. When you're a young team, I feel like your philosophy should just be to accumulate as much talent as possible. Obviously, let them play out there on the court and then evaluate after that. So this is what the Suns are going to do. They're just going to evaluate how Kelly Oubre fits. And maybe he's good for that, run and pace, a run and gun, up and down pace system that the Suns have. Because I could see Kelly Oubre thriving in a fast environment. And I don't know if he's going to start. He possibly could. But I do like the fit here with Kelly Oubre. I'm not that high on Josh Jackson as I was last year. He's clearly regressed a little bit. Clearly, you have your two cornerstones in Ayton and Booker, though Ayton needs to improve. On the defensive end, he's awful there, and so is Devin Booker. But they are still your cornerstone pieces. So Kelly Oubre could slot in as a nice piece here. Obviously, Austin Rivers helps because they needed a point guard to kind of run the show. I don't think Austin Rivers is a starting point guard, but he can certainly give you some bench depth. Okay, he's a combo guard in this league, and they were starting DeAnthony Melton as their starting point guard. So they definitely needed an upgrade there. So Austin Rivers actually is going to help them. So overall, I like this trade for the Suns. I like this trade from their perspective because obviously we knew they were going to get rid of Ariza. They had no reason to have him. And they get to have some young players come back and address a position of need in one point guard, backup point guard, and another young player who you can possibly add to your core and see if he's worth it, So for the Suns, I like this trade. So I think they are the clear winners, though I don't think the Wizards are clear losers, if that makes sense. So I think the Suns won this trade, but I don't think the Wizards did awful in the sense that, they clearly lost this trade. I think they should have asked for a little bit more, but I understand their reasoning for not wanting to pay Kelly Oubre. That's why they traded him. So hope that helps you guys understand the trade and why it was made. Let me know if you guys agree with me or disagree with me. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on this trade, and let's talk about it. As always, thanks for watching.